StreamElements might be ending sometime soon. But don't panic, they actually have put out a public announcement stating that they are working on a potential buyer and acquisition process in order to continue support. StreamElements, for those of you that don't know, is an online service that primarily does 4 things. 1, it hosts sponsorship opportunities and tipping for creators. 2, it hosts a chatbot that can help moderate and automate tools to help streamers. 3, it lets you multi-stream to several platforms at once. And 4, it hosts widgets, or like little interactive graphics for your stream. So let's go through some potential fixes for all of these things. Since this is so widespread in terms of what you might need covered, I'm going to discuss things in groups, and one of those main categories of solution services that we have is going to be bots. First of all, if you have commands and auto moderation and that's all that you need taken care of, you might just want to consider picking up something like Nightbot. It's been around forever and it can take care of announcements, moderation, social media links, commands, and much more. It's very easy to add to your chat and start using. All you have to do is link your Twitch account to it. Similarly, StreameRbot is another bot that can help out with safety and moderation. And both of these will handle the basics for your chat and are immediate solutions to the StreamElements bot. Then we also have bots that kind of run like a software on your PC. This includes stuff like StreamerBot, MixItUp, and Aitum Nexus. These heavily overlap, so I'm going to discuss them as a whole since I don't have the time to go through every single one of them and give you a tutorial for all of them at the same time. Basically, you run these locally on your machine and you link them up with other integrations like Twitch, YouTube, OBS, VtubeStudio, and whatever else you might need. From there, you use chains of actions to make things like alerts on your stream, auto-moderate, and use chat commands. They all have variable handling for minigames and chat records, like how many times a user has checked in to stream, for example. So all of these have a ton of the main boxes checked if you want to migrate somewhere. These 3 bots have dedicated communities with pre-made assets and importable actions or alerts. And if you want to make custom alerts, like for example, the bits alerts that I use on my Twitch, you can use a combination of base visuals, GDI text source updates, and OBS source visibility toggles to make close to anything. I personally use StreamerBot to handle all of this, and I'll try to get a video out on how I handle it ASAP. While the learning curve for this stuff is a little bit more steep, it's totally possible. But none of these fully replace widgets or chat games to the degree that you probably want them to. None of them support direct import or conversion for widgets that work inside of StreamElements either. But what I will say is that MixItUp does have some base widgets available for things like ending scenes and custom chats, and there's customizable sections for CSS, HTML, and so on. While StreamElements widgets can't be converted one-to-one into this area in MixItUp, someone crafty might be able to, and it's probably the closest thing that we have available at the moment. These bots do not handle anything monetary though. They are just there to run things behind the scenes. So if you end up choosing a bot to handle everything, I just recommend checking the integrations available to you and make sure that you're making the best choice for your needs. While we're talking about Aitum though, I should mention that Aitum also makes a multi-stream plugin for OBS that lets you stream to multiple sites at once. And it also offers a vertical canvas option as well. But you don't need to use Aitum's bot, Aitum Nexus, in order for this multi-stream plugin to work. So you could mix and match this plugin with any other bot or anything from the next section as well. You install it like you would any other OBS plugin, and you'll have a new dock for multi-streaming available to you. You can easily add your other accounts and add any vertical streaming options as well if you did elect to install Aitum Vertical alongside Aitum Multistream. It's also free to use, and the only other solution that I really have for this one is Restream.io, which is another free to use option given you only use 2 services at a time. You can link up your Restream account in OBS under the Accounts tab and configure your Restream settings, and then when you go live, your stream will be split off into your selected live stream accounts. That being said though, if you use OBS, you can consider the multi-streaming box checked because either of these can work in tandem with any of these other overlay and alert solutions. Next up is the stuff that's more focused around alerts and widgets, starting off with Slime2. Slime2Stream is a widget hosting service by Zetri, who you can find on Blue Sky if you want to keep up with development. Currently, there are several free and paid widgets available to use, and there is documentation if you want to make something from scratch. These widgets primarily include chat widgets, but there are some fun overlays like the DVD bounce overlay or a rainbow gradient as well. Slime2 does not currently have any bot support, but it can take care of your overlay issues. And like with MixItUp, you can can't really easily move over your already existing widgets as StreamElements, and Slime 2 base functionality is just completely different. Slime 2 is on its way to becoming a desktop app, and currently there is only Twitch support for it, but 𝗂𝘵 does have intentions to add YouTube support down the line. Twitch also has its own alert system, and this is not a complete overlay system. However, if your goal is to just replace your alerts only, this is an excellent option for you. It's browser source based, so the process is pretty much to pick a trigger and then go through and customize each alert by adjusting the font, text, color, sound, and visual settings. And then once you're done, you just copy that link as a browser source into OBS. This is not a substitution for a chatbot either, so while it's easy to use and majorly helpful, it's just not an all-encompassing tool. OneComme is a tool that I was only exposed to when I was checking out some of 𝗂𝘂𝗽𝗽𝙀𝗻's plugins, and the tools available on OneComme are very fun and complex, though you might have to do a little bit of circumnavigating the Japanese language to get them to work. Once you install and link your accounts, you can import tons of overlays, and many of these are as complex as the ones in StreamElements. Some of the ones I tried from 𝗂𝘂𝗽𝗀 Lab included chat widgets, combos for chat messages, and even some complex stuff like this character randomizer. 𝗂𝘂𝗽𝗽 is a newer resource and actually functions more like a marketplace similar to StreamElements. While it doesn't have a chatbot, it does have some base widgets ready to go, and a scene editor where you can dump and add alerts and chat widgets for use on your stream. So far, it looks very promising, and Fuji, or Fugi, I actually don't know how to say it, is part of the project. And that's the person who made one of the most reliable PNG tubing services out there. So I have pretty high hopes for 𝗂𝘂𝗽𝗽. 𝗂𝘂𝗽𝗽 is currently planning to add tipping, so if you're concerned about money, that might be a great option for you, though it's not ready at the time that I'm recording this video. They also plan to add a migration tool from StreamElements over to 𝗂𝘂𝗽𝗽, so you can continue to use your old widgets. All you would do, hypothetically speaking, is grab your CSS, HTML, JSON, and JS, and copy and paste it into whatever 𝗂𝘂𝗽𝗽's new format is. But let's talk about migration specifically for a second, because there is an overhead issue with migration, and that's that you don't necessarily get to choose whether or not the tool is migrated, because you need to check with your widget maker or check their TOS to confirm if it's something they're okay with. As these tools start to come online, we'll probably see more widget makers giving official statements, updating their TOS, or even migrating the code themselves. The person who did my chat code, and also makes beautiful widgets by the way, so please go support them, already tweeted that they intend to keep purchased assets usable. So they're definitely working on a solution and keeping up to date on what's going on. This is a huge point of contention for people that do this for a living, so I promise that they are all aware and are working on solutions. But when we start to see these migration tools come online, please don't just use them. You need to check with your artist and coder first, or at least wait for them to make a statement. That being said though, I think we should briefly go over some of the options for this stuff so you can be prepared for it. As mentioned prior, 𝗂𝘂𝗽𝗽 is working on a migration tool. 𝘂𝘂𝗽𝗽 is another person that you can keep up with on Twitter, and they're working on a locally hosted version of this. Just please be careful if you find any of these smaller developments that you make sure not to give your login to anyone, and especially don't if the source is not vetted in the community already. None of these at the moment are officially released, so we don't really have a current migration tool, but be sure to keep your eyes peeled for when they start coming online. As far as migration goes, there's more to it than just overlays though, since some people have user variables stored or commands as well. If you're set on transferring things over directly, VtubeStudio does have an import tool for StreamElements and will grab your chat alerts, commands, and more. Some of those bot apps can do this as well, like for example, I know Streamerbot can do this using extensions from the community, so just be sure to hunt them down using the Discord or extensions website. Finally, let's talk about money. Tipping can always be a stressful topic because we're talking about bank accounts and personal information. So I'll start this off by saying that you need to have a business PayPal account for any service linked through PayPal. You should be able to adjust your business settings to prevent your name from being shown during transactions. 𝗂𝘂𝗽𝗽𝗽, as mentioned prior, intends to be adding a tipping page. There are other places that host tipping as well, like Pally.gg, which actually lets you split your tips between yourself and your mods, though be careful with this when it comes to taxes. Alternatively, there are some other tipping sites, although they aren't as minimalist as StreamElements is. One example is Ko-fi, which is what I personally use for my tips. Ko-fi has an API, which means you can link donations up to alerts or actions in some of the aforementioned options. You might also consider running a monetary goal on Throne, or including wishlist items with payouts and even gift cards. You could potentially list a tip on your VGen page for the time being as well, although I reached out to 𝗏𝘓𝗃 to ask if this is even acceptable in the TOS, and if they responded to me by this point in time, I'll leave a screenshot right now. With any of these tipping services, take into consideration that if they are PayPal based, you will lose a percentage to PayPal. And some sites also take an operational fee as well, so be sure to check what amount you'll be losing to the service that you end up choosing. As far as sponsorships go, it's tough. There are sponsorship platforms if you go out looking for them, but there aren't any I've personally used and can endorse in terms of how they treat you and what the pay is like. Keep in mind that these services also tend to take a fee from creators, so be sure you know what the fee is before you start using them. And as always, read any and all contracts with care. One site that I'm keeping my eye on right now is actually headed by Giga, and from what I can tell, it seems to have similar intents as StreamElements' sponsor program. And while it's not live quite yet, you can actually sign up for it now. Without a site to facilitate sponsorships though, you can still find sponsors. I would recommend, first of all, make a business email if you haven't already. Once it's made, you need to put that in all of your social media somewhere easy to find. Tons of brand social media campaign managers will go there first to get in contact with you if they're interested, and if they can't find it, they're just gonna give up. So listing it explicitly there as a business email helps clarify the intent for any brands that want to reach out. Having a niche down audience also helps brands to find you. For example, while I have a channel without an explicit niche, I also have this channel here where I talk about VTubing tech and stream tutorials, which makes it easier for a brand to understand how I could potentially help them market their products or services. But brands don't always find you first, so you should be doing outreach of your own as well. Tons of brands actually have partnership and affiliate programs available online, and you can easily find these by just searching them on Google and applying literally the same day. And while this isn't a full sponsorship tutorial or anything, if you want to reach out to a brand with an email, in general, here's some rules. Don't beg, just be honest to them. Only reach out to brands that you actually genuinely enjoy and believe in, and make sure that you have some sort of plan as to how you can help the brand or why you think you might be a good fit for them. You'll get some rejections and probably get some ghosting too, but don't let it discourage you from trying again. And of course, you can always look into getting a manager or signing onto a talent agency if you don't have the time to take care of this and need someone to do it for you. I know this is all a lot to take in, so let me give you my personal breakdown of my plan in case that helps you at all. And remember, there's 4 main things that StreamElements does. For me, I will continue to use Streamerbot, and that'll handle all of my automations, chat commands, moderation, integrations, and alerts. I'm gonna keep using Ko-fi for my tipping page for the time being, and I'll just handle my own sponsorship outreach. For multi-streaming, I'll use Aitum Multistream for OBS, which is a plugin that I just install and don't have to do any extras for. And for my chat overlay, I'm going to get in touch with my coder, and if I get approval from them, I will likely migrate it to EKG when their migration tool comes out, which means that I'll be standing by for the time being. By the way, if I haven't mentioned a service or bot, it's definitely due to one of 3 things. First of all, they actively promote generative AI features, which I'm strictly against and don't want to promote. 2, they might have issues with their reputation, and I feel uncomfortable mentioning them. Or 3, maybe I just didn't know it existed. So if you have any other recommendations, be sure to leave them down below. While this is a massive chain of solutions to replace what once was a single tool for many people, it's also extremely modular depending on your needs, which is actually kind of a good thing. Feel free to comment what your personal chain of solutions is down below to give others some insight. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.